adhyavasiyate, become manifest. Saha hi ashrayaha, reservoir. Param, the supreme. Brahma, being. Paramatma, the super soul. Iti, thus. Shriyate, called. Translation: the Supreme One, who is celebrated as the Supreme Being or the Supreme Soul, is the supreme source of the cosmic manifestation, as well as its reservoir and winding up. Thus, he is the supreme fountainhead, the absolute truth. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Synonyms for the supreme source of all energies, as explained in the very beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, are Janmadya Shayataha, Vedanti Tattvavidas, Tattvam Yats Jnanam Advayam, Brahmeti Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdyate, called Parabrahman, Parabrahma, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. The word iti used here in this verse completes the synonyms and thus indicates Bhagavan. This will be further explained in the later verses. But this Bhagavan ultimately means Lord Krishna, because the Srimad Bhagavatam has already accepted the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Krishna. Krishna's to Bhagavan Swayam. The original source of all energies, or the summum bonum, is the absolute truth, which is called Parabrahma, etc. And Bhagavan is the last word of the absolute truth. But even with the synonyms for Bhagavan, such as Narayan, Vishnu, and Purush, the last word is Krishna, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate, etc. Besides that, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the representation of Lord Krishna as the sound incarnation of the Lord. Krishna swa dhammo bhagate dharma gyanadibisaha kalo nastyas drisham esha puranarako dunoditaha. That's from the Bhagavatam 1:3-43. Thus, by general conclusion, Lord Krishna is the ultimate source of all energies. And the word Krishna means that. And to explain Krishna, or the science of Krishna, the Srimad Bhagavatam has been prepared. In the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, this truth is indicated in the questions and answers by Sutta Goswami and great sages like Shonaka. And in the first and second chapters of the canto, this is explained. In the third chapter, this subject is more explicit. And in the fourth chapter, even more explicit. In the second canto, the absolute truth as the personality of Godhead is further emphasized, and the indication is the Supreme Lord Krishna. The summary of Srimad Bhagavatam in 4 verses, as we have already discussed, is succinct. This Supreme Personality of Godhead and the ultimate issue is confirmed by Brahma in his Brahma Samhita as Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachchid Ananda Vigraha. So it is concluded in the third canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. The complete subject matter is elaborately explained in the 10th and the 11th cantos of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In the matter of the changes of the Manus or Manvantaras, such as the Swayambhu Manvantara and Chakshusha Manvantara, as they are discussed in the third, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh cantos of Srimad Bhagavatam. Lord Krishna is indicated. And the eighth canto, the Vivaswata Manvantara, explains the same subject indirectly. And in the ninth canto, the same purport is there. In the 12th canto, the same is further explained, specifically regarding the different incarnations of the Lord. Thus, it is concluded by studying the complete Srimad Bhagavatam that Lord Sri Krishna is the ultimate summum bonum, or the ultimate source of all energy. And according to the grades of worshippers, the indications of the nomenclature may be differently explained as Narayan, Brahma, Paramatma, etc. Hare Krishna. Jai, thank you very much for listening. I hope everything's clear coming across the ether waves. Can I get a yes, sir?
Yes,
Or a
Maharaj.
no? All right.
Voice is
Thank you so
everything.
much. Thumbs up. Thank you. Okay, Jai. So this is like all segments of the Bhagavatam. It's beautiful. Prabhupada explained it's like sugar cane. Wherever you bite into the cane or into the stick, there's going to be sugar. There'll be something sweet. So here we're talking about a underscoring the position of the word Bhagawan. Bhagawan literally means the one who possesses all opulences, all attractions. And that is explained by Parashara Muni, who is the great father of Vyasadeva. And what are those opulences, by the way? That is in the possession of God. Well, first of all, the Lord is all attractive in feature. The Lord is the wealthiest. The Lord is the strongest, the most intelligent, the most renounced, the most famous. And what would the last one be? Just to get a little interaction going here.
Is the most knowledgeable, is the most famous, is the most
Renunciation.
renounced.
Renunciation, that's the one we missed. Fine. So I can't think of anybody who has all those qualities. I can think of some people I know that they're really attractive, like absolutely good looking, knockout physiques and smile, whatever. I can only think about, because I've never met anybody who's very wealthy, who's got all the riches. I can think about intelligent people. You know, I think we all have heard enough. I think like somebody like Einstein, he's had a high IQ, but in terms of looks, no way, Jose. There was someone told me there was George Bernard Shaw. He's a great playwright, a very intelligent person. Like where I live here in Toronto, just an hour and a half away is Niagara Falls. And in the beautiful town of Niagara-on-the-Lake, they have the Shaw Theater, named after the great playwright. So he was at a gathering once. This is what I was told. And there was a beautiful movie star there, film star from Hollywood. And a little conversation ensued. And she came on to him a little bit and said, "Oh, wouldn't it be nice if we got together and we could have children and they could have my looks and your brains?" So what he said in response, well, the nature of the world is such that there could be children, but there's a good chance that they might have my looks and your lack of brains, whatever. So, when it comes to Bhagawan, that means one who possesses all the good qualities, whatever we think is a physical asset that is possessed by Krishna. So now, many of you most likely came from a kind of a religious background. I would assume many of you came from a Christian background or maybe an Islamic background. Am I right about that? If I could see people, I could see their hands coming in, but I don't see anybody practically. Okay, good. I see Sati Devi. She's verified that you probably come from a Christian background, right? Yeah. There's not too many Jewish folks over there, but in your continent, but Christians, yes, and Muslims, yes. Um, the approach to spirituality is quite simple. There is someone up there called God. Uh, that's the nomenclature. Some people will say the creator. That term creator is quite common with our indigenous people here in Canada. They'll say the great creator, they'll use that. Yeah. And that's the common word. God, maybe not so. Yesterday I was at a Freemasons service. I was invited to speak on behalf of the Bhakti tradition under the umbrella of Hinduism. So be it. And I had a chance to speak. So did others representing Islam, Buddhism, Baha'i, Christianity, and so on like that. And, they gave out like sheets for us to answer to, a little bit like Shravanam Kirtanam. Here's what the speaker will say at the end of his little speech. And then we all respond to that. And then we all say something together. It was a little bit like that, back and forth. And then you stand, and then you sit down on the pew, and then you stand. This was a real old church, a Presbyterian church in a pioneer village, 1856, long time ago. And the terms that they use: God, creator, the divine, with a capital D, that's become very common now. Like when I walked across Canada and also the US, the demographics are kind of the same on the two coasts, east and west, where people are a little bit more liberal. I could say the word the divine or the supreme, especially amongst the yoga communities. If I use those terms, they're okay with that. Or even the universe. A synonym for God is the universe. A lot of people are happy with that phrase. So I'll do whatever it takes to make them happy. And I will throw the word God in there in my delivery of my speaking. The divine is very common on the coasts. Once you get into the middle section of the country, where it's inland, it's a little more people of the land, the farming community, a little more Christian based, then they're comfortable with the word God. So I'm just happy to interchange the words. So now we've got words like that in Sanskrit. It's the same kind of dynamic, isn't it? Really. We're talking about Narayan. We're talking about Param Brahma. We're talking about Vishnu. How many times do we use the word Vishnu in our talks? After all, we are Vaishnavas. You know what that literally means? That we're followers of Vishnu, not Krishna. So we shouldn't be kind of scared or frightened of the different nomenclatures, the different phraseologies. In fact, you should just take advantage of it. Yeah, yesterday at the program, oh yes, I was telling devotees this Ottawa. I recently visited our capital city in Canada, and I said, I told my folks when I joined the movement, my parents, my name changed. They were concerned about that, and I just tell them, my parents, well, this is great. I've got a spiritual name. I've got my legal name, and I'm still a Catholic. I'm a Christian devotee, Hare Krishna, but I'm still a Catholic. And in one newspaper, it said, Bhakti Mark Swami, he's still a Catholic. Then my parents got so excited in the newspaper. Say, John, our John, he's still a Catholic. So we should not be too overly concerned about the words that we use. It implies the same thing, really, isn't it? Like if I'm speaking French, le Dieu, mon Dieu, people say sometimes almost, mon Dieu means my God, you know? Or we use the word Deva. Deva means God. When we say Deva, Deva Jagatpate, it means the God of all gods. Then it becomes a little more clear. Then we're getting to the point of what Prabhupada is emphasizing here, and that is the magical name of Bhagawan. Bhagawan is important to us because the word Bhagawan is spread throughout the Bhagavad Gita. It's Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. I just want to say it's not Sri Krishna Uvacha. It's Sri Bhagavan Uvacha. So we should be comfortable with that term and happy about the fact that we've got different names to imply the same thing. So, you know, I've got on my passport my legal name, and it's not Bhakti Mark Swami. And I'm so happy that I can interchange my names. You know, with religious people, I can say my name is Bhakti Mark Swami. When I go through security, it's John Viss, John Peter Viss. You know, it's nice to have a few names to play around with and have a little fun with. One thing that really sticks out of my mind, one of the boys that I work with in South Africa, he's an African, you know, Zulu. I think he's Zulu back. Anyways, he said, Maharaj, he's told me this a few years ago, in order to really win the hearts of our African people, you know, the Black African people, is that like, we got to keep it simple. He says, what are you talking about? And I said, keep it simple, like one God and one name, one mantra. Keep it real simple for the people, easy for them to follow. Said, I don't know if that's going to be possible, but I think we could try. And but I get his point. Some people want simple answers, like this chapter is entitled, The Answer to All Questions. Well, you know, some of the complexities that we find in the Bhagavatam make it a little hard for people to follow. Like if you, Prabhu's, asked me to do a verse that's very technical, you know, based on some Kapila Muni's presentation, I get a little flabbergasted. It's so technical. And I said, well, can you give me a few verses so it, you know, maybe I can extract something a little more interesting, something I can sink my teeth into. And so, by the way, I'm just happy that you gave me this verse. It is very nice. And it's reminding me of how important is this word Bhagawan. And we shouldn't be shy from using this phrase. But who should we use it on? On the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We shouldn't dare assume that if I do my yoga, if I do my bhakti, if I continue on the path of self-realization, I'll one day become Bhagawan, you know? They'll become God himself. This is a warning that Srila Prabhupada gives to us, you know, all the time, you know. Do not think that you could become God. Once you are God, you're always God. And once you're not God, you'll never be God. You'll always be the servant of God. I mean, this was just as the pandemic was starting to subside. And we had one gentleman here come to the temple and to the restaurant. And he said, you know, I was wondering if I could talk to you sometimes. Okay, sure. When would be good for you? Oh, tomorrow. How about just in the park? okay, sure. And so we got together, by pine tree settling at a picnic table, grass everywhere, really nice. No ligers, no lions and tigers and bears, everything's very nice. And he said, I just want to admit to you, first of all, that I'm an atheist. I don't believe in a God. And I just said to him, well, I'm not here to judge you. As far as I'm concerned, you're a human being and you seem to be a nice guy, and I'm not here to judge. But maybe I could give you some food for thought. And that food for thought was, as I explained it, so there's yourself, and there's the rest of the world. And you, compared to everything else, what are you really? A little speck. That's all you are. Against everything else, you are just a tiny little screw. That's what you are. And I'm in the same position. So, he was nodding his head, and I'm not really a scholar or intellectual to be able to talk to, people who are highly intelligent on some level. But I think he got it. Doesn't that make us reverential to everything else? Doesn't that put us into a humble position? The fact that there's me, and juxtaposed to me is everything else. I'm talking about the planets. It's not just the park, the grass, the picnic table, the tree, but the whole city that we live in, and the whole country, and the planets, and the galaxy. You would agree that they exist. Yes. And he said, yeah, yeah. So I'm very small. And that puts me in a position of humility, and also perhaps even to take it a step further, in the spirit of wanting to protect the rest of the world. I look at it with great awe. Uh, I have a sense of feeling like I should protect or serve that creation. So, I mean, I just think he was, to my mind, I was observing this lawyer fellow, and he was kind of relieved a little bit. I didn't go in great depth. I just felt that he had come somewhere. So, see, Bhagawan entails everything. Um, there's Bhagawan in me and you as Paramatma. The first canto of the Bhagavatam explains that. You know, uh, God is in the heart, localized. That's the term Prabhupada uses. And when I did my little speech to the Freemasons yesterday, I opened up with Namaste because they expect that from a Hindu person, okay? And then I said Hare Krishna, right? And Namaste basically means that I recognize the God in you, and you, and you, I pointed to, in all of us, God in the heart. And, I think I felt so good, empowered by Prabhupada to say just that simple thing, because everything that was spoken by these other speakers and reps from the different faith groups was all quite vague and nebulous. And what was so nice about what Prabhupada's given us and the Acharyas in the line of Parampara is that everything is a bit more specific, and well defined. I love it when Prabhupada was telling us, we even know God's address. We could probably even find out what is Krishna's email address, his WhatsApp number, because he's got one. The detail is what I liked about Krishna consciousness. It's the details that are fine. So going back to the proposal by the one devotee in South Africa, let's keep it real simple. And it says, yeah, I understand where you're at, but if people want a little bit more, Don't you think we can deliver it? Don't you think that we should offer the bulk of it all? Start small, to deliver what a child perhaps can comprehend. But at some time, when we develop a little bit more in our cognitive powers, perhaps we can then have something a little bit more. And that's what's beautiful about the followers of Bhagavan, the followers of Krishna. It's detailed. This book discusses 10 different subject matters, and each one of them is quite deep, starting with creation, sub-creation, so on. It's nice to have it there when you want to pull the book off your shelf or just look online. The information is there. Some of us maybe don't want to be so technical and may not submit to the complexities that the Bhagavatam has to offer, or the Vedas in general. Like personally, I'm really glad. Thank you, Prabhupada. Don't give me too many books. Thank you for the Nectar of Devotion, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Thank you for all of that. Yes, thank you. And if you say that if we understand those books, that's enough, we can become self-realized. Wow, what a relief. It's great. I think an important aspect of embracing our culture, the culture of Bhagavan, is to capture the spirit of it. Perhaps if you remember when you first read the Bhagavad Gita, one American lady, Prabhupada writes about this, one American woman had suggested that, why another Bhagavad Gita? Why another translation? Because during Prabhupada's time, there were probably about 600 versions of the Bhagavad Gita commented upon just in the English language. So now, whatever it is, 50, 60 years later, so many more commentaries have come out. Now, Prabhupada was just saying during the time when the American woman asked him, he said, but you see, most of the commentators have failed to capture the spirit of the Bhagavad Gita. That's why there's the need for Bhagavad Gita as it is. And I believe that in my heart, Srila Prabhupada has captured what we need to hear. And that is the service attitude. It's the rasa that must be captured. And that is one of the seva, service. And right now, there's a lot of people who are joining our movement, especially people who are very good at computers. They like IT people. So I always point to them, oh, look at Bhagavad Gita as IT is. It says IT. Maybe this is backwards for you. So everything is here. I was raised Catholic, and I wondered, well, why is it that some people are born into a real decrepit situation, and other people are born in a very, very comfortable, cozy, silver spoon in their mouth type of lifestyle? And I really want to understand that. Why is there misfortune and fortune? And then the answer came to me from the philosophy that it's a issue of karma. Karma, you get what you desire and you get what you deserve. The two D's, desire and deserve. Okay. And so we're talking about previous lives, other existence prior to this one. And the answer that came from the devotees, yeah, And we will be here in the future. We always were. Opening statements by Krishna to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, some of the first lessons. The first lesson is, you are here, I am here, all these other kings or warriors are here, we're here, we'll be here. Okay, so there's a case for the soul's transmigration, the constant, persistent living patterns that survive rolism throughout the change of bodies, throughout existence. And I just like that concept so much when I heard it. And I really appreciate that this culture has depth to it. It's not shallow. It's not you're born, you die, and everything that happens in between. There's a little bit of an adventure. No, the adventure was before, and there's more surprises to come. That this is so exciting. This is just one chapter. What my life is one chapter in this existence, and the chapter will end, and a new one will begin. And the curtain closes, the curtain opens. The show may be over, the play, the drama may be over, but the curtain is still there, and it's going to open for some other episode in someone else's life. So anyways, I just found that Krishna consciousness is not shallow. So when it comes to the names of God, there are many. Why limit it? And George Harrison did us a good favor. Jehovah, in his introduction on the Krishna book, he told us there are many names of God. And yeah, so let's explore them. Let's go for it. Let's have some fun. Let us continue on with this great adventure, which involves some escaping, some running, being chased, in some cases us chasing, in some cases us being the predator, in some cases us being the prey. It's kind of fun, isn't it? It's kind of exciting. We get to play different roles. And as we are playing different roles in this world, so also Krishna is playing different roles and different pastimes through the different avatars and incarnations. Very appropriately. I just remember something that what Bhakti Tirtha Swami told us in Dallas many years ago, of course, before he passed away. Said, and when I go to different functions, if I'm in Africa and I'm with a tribal chief, I'll dress something like him. And if it's appropriate, I'll be in the saffron, I'll dress for the occasion. And if I have to go somewhere in a swimsuit, I'll come in a swimsuit. Of course, we all laughed at that. But the point is that Krishna will come and incarnate in some form which is appropriate for the occasion. Prahlad, saintly boy, he was in trouble, and his father was a monster. And the Lord had to come in a form that was very intimidating. So he came as a lion man, right? Lord Boar comes to this world when the earth is in trouble. And by the way, I was raised on a farm. So we had everything. We had peacocks, pheasants, we had chickens, we even had pigs. And the pigs, they would just change your landscape with their big snout. They just turn the dirt over and make a pond that wasn't there before. They'd wreck everything. And so the Lord does that with his snout and with his tusks. He'll come to save the earth, our dear planet, Bhumi, which he did in the past, and which I hope he will do again, because I think there's a need. So it's all fun. The Lord plays different roles, and it's all really for pleasure. And we also are always in a drama, playing a different role in our different forms of life, different species, different genders. Uh, as you know, it's a big thing in the news, especially maybe in the West. You know, somebody's a he, and then they'll become a she, and then they regret being that, and then they'll change their minds again. And so people are flipping a lot, and people are quite confused. So to end the confusion, we take shelter of the Bhagavatam. We take shelter of the answers that it provides to all of the curious human minds questioning. And this is being addressed here in this particular chapter that you're going through in the course right now. Yeah, so thank you for this opportunity. I know the hour's not over, but I figure I've said enough for now. If the powers that be on your end are okay with anything that I may have spoken, and if it's been a little bit encouraging, I really appreciate it. And if I haven't inspired at all, then please suggest what I can do to improve the presentation. Hare Krishna. And to be very honest with you, I didn't really look at the verse before I got to it. I only saw the number and I carried it with me because I'm just hopping from one place to another, from one service to another. And I sometimes find I do a little better when it's spontaneous. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much for the wonderful presentation. I don't know about others, but I'm pretty sure I can speak on behalf of each and every attendee here that we're all very much inspired by your presentation because it's nothing about Krishna. So that's what we're all trying to get to, trying to remember Krishna always and never forget Krishna. So you inspired us by hearing about Krishna and some of the simple techniques that we may be able to use and preach to the world without losing any of our Krishna conscious philosophy or discipline. So thank you so much. I have some questions, but we'll go to Her Grace, Mother Shri Upanishad first. Please, Mother, unmute.
Shri Upanishad from Cleveland.
Yes,
from
Cleveland.
From America. Hariwal, how are you?
Jai Maharaj, Hare Krishna. It's
Hare
so
Hare.
wonderful to
Your
see
question.
you. It's such a pleasure to be in your association. I really love the fact that you brought to our attention that we are Vaishnavas and we are followers of Vishnu. I just love it. Thank you so very much. You just made my day, we have all these wonderful adventures, Krishna consciousness is it's surreal too. It's just so, magnificent. So I just wanted to see your face and to say Hare Krishna to you and then to let you know that we miss you so very much. And how is your health? You look fantastic. Look at that. You just look wonderful. So again, Maharaj, thank you so very much for allowing me to be in your holiest.
Thank you.
Oh, Mother Shri Upanishad, you got muted. The last part, you got muted.
Again, Parvati was just calling me in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's because I was getting a call from Parvati. She's always calling me at this time of morning for some reason or another. Anyway,
we're going to see you in Cleveland.
That's what happened.
We'll see you in Cleveland.
Anyway, yes.
We're going to see you in Cleveland less than a week from now.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, Maharaj. Haribo, and thank you for the wonderful, wonderful verse. You know, you're very thorough. You went around the world. You took me out of the planet. You know, thank you so very much. Haribo, Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mother Shrisha Panisha. Anyone else with something to ask or share? Maharaj, I have this question. Do you have some of your Transcendental Krishna dramas online that devotees may be able to watch?
Oh, Krishna dramas, did you say?
Yes, yes, Maharaj.
Yeah, if you could just look at my website, you should be able to get it. I have, you should be able to like press theater, and there are some things that we have filmed.
Okay.
You know, if you're really stuck, somebody, you can contact me personally or anybody there. And yeah, there's some good things there, some things that kids watch that they learn from.
Yeah.
And, you know, I haven't put anything out there too much recently, but I am working hard at before I leave this world to try to film everything that we've done.
Yeah.
You know, with 3-4 nice angle shots and try to get more professional as time goes on. Yeah, so I've been involved in community theaters, you know, and it gives me a lot of satisfaction to take what's on the page and put it on the stage. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm so happy to hear this project you have in line, because I watched some of the dramas in Gita Nagari, New York and Cleveland, and they're all so fantastic. You know, and I remembered how Sri Prabhupada said these dramas are even much better than trying to speak philosophy. So it's very
Right.
interesting. You want to do that.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Maharaj. Now, Maharaj, my question is, you were talking about how you were invited to some sort of like an interfaith program, and you greeted Namaste instead of Hare Krishna. And Namaste simply means I recognize the God in you, the God in everything. So that is the super soul. Now, my question is, the super soul is already in the heart of all living entities. So, if the super soul is already there, then how come we sometimes say that if your heart is dirty, the Lord will not enter into your heart? And they give this example of a guru who was approached by another person to have initiation. And then he gave him a very nice palatable food in a very dirty, filthy plate. And this person wouldn't eat it. So he says, okay, you're not going to eat it because the plate is dirty. So what do you think God will going to enter into your heart if your heart is dirty? But the super soul is already there, whether it's dirty or not dirty. So I want you to kind of help me understand what we mean when we say God will not enter in the heart of, say, a sinful person or somebody who is full of filth.
Yes, what you propose could be a little bit confusing to some people, but here's my understanding of Paramatma. Paramatma is transcendental. Paramatma is neutral to any circumstance. Your heart might be dirty, full of the filth of lust and anger and greed, etc., but the Lord is still comfortable. He doesn't feel it. He's there, but he really doesn't feel it. Maybe it's a little bit like you know, a coconut that's separated from the shell. And so that's the transcendental nature of Paramatma. In the story of Mogalila, the son-in-law of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he was quite offensive, and he secured or accrued this cholera disease, and because he had become very offensive to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the Lord came to him and put his lotus hand on his chest. And he said, you're born a Brahmin. It's supposed to be a clean place, you know. And if it's clean, then the Lord will be happy and comfortable to sit there, you know. And so it's not that Paramatma is not located in the heart of, in this particular case of Mogalila. He is there, but I guess you can take it more as an allegorical, metaphorical approach, you know, that like Prabhupada was saying, when we went to school by the Scottish teachers, you know, the seats were very clean. It was very nice to sit on the clean chairs and the desks that they had before them. So even if they were dirty, if you sat on a dirty seat, you could still take lessons from the teacher, you know. Mind you, if the atmosphere is conducive for hearing and there's no encumbrances, then it makes for a better situation. In general, I would just have to say that, you know, the Lord is there. But sometimes, I guess what we really are trying to say, why don't you make it really pleasant for the Paramatma who's sitting there? Just make the conditions the best possible and make him as comfortable as can possibly be, you know. So the Lord doesn't abandon anybody, you know. He doesn't abandon any soul. If we don't make the effort to cultivate our spiritual side, then no doubt, you know, Krishna, who's seated there as Paramatma, is feeling some disappointment and waiting for us to really dig down deep and go for the surrendering approach to really feel it in our heart. The Lord wants us to submit. In fact, he wants to help us. Chapter 10 from Bhagavad Gita, Tesham Ivanakam Bharatam Aham Ajnana Jantamaha Nasyama Bhavasto Jnana Deepena Bhasvata. That means that he's like the sun, and he'll come into a dark place and he'll light up that place. So in our entire existence, we're dark. Dark meaning in ignorance. And the Lord will come and light up our day, light up our life, if we make it welcoming, you know. So it's really a matter of us being a good host. My dear Lord, please, I'm really working hard at getting myself clean, squeaky clean, and I think you'll find it a very, you'll feel right at home if you come into my heart. I'm just trying my best. I'll never get it clean. In terms of cleanliness, I went to the dentist the other day, and the person cleaning my teeth, she was saying, well, you know, people, they do their flossing, they do their brushing, they have their Listerine, whatever, and they gargle with salt. And she recommended, you know, salt water, something to kill the bacteria. But she's saying 70% of the bacteria will go, even with the very best cleaning that you do. And then she said, and that's why you come to the dentist, so that the 30%, the rest of the job can be taken care of. So whatever we try to do to get clean, we can only go so far. We have our limitations. Our competency, to surrender has its limits. But you know, Prabhupada always told us, you try. And that's the definition of a Vaishnava. Another definition, if you will, of a devotee of Krishna, one who tries. one who tries. So just to, sort of cap it off, Krishna is there, but we have the onus is on us to make the place as clean as possible through association, through chanting, and all those other great things that make the difference.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Anyone else with something to share or ask? Please. Maharaj, I had been wondering also about Krishna, because your Prabhupada states in the purport that Krishna, Stu Bhagavan Swayam, Krishna is the supreme personality of God, that is the origin. But we also understand that Krishna, the original supreme Godhead, never moves a step outside of Vrindavan, or say Goloka Vrindavan, all the same. So if Krishna never moves a step outside of Goloka Vrindavan, and now he is here on earth, which is called Gokul. He went to Mathura, he went to Dwaraka. Then how is this our Krishna, Vasudev Krishna, Nandan Krishna, is the Swayam Bhagavan? If you may help.
So your question entails Krishna, the source of all.
The source of all incarnations, the source of everything.
Right, and he
Who
never
is
leaves
always situated in Goloka Vrindavan. He never leaves there.
Well, okay, but just let's try to remember Krishna's actual position. Yatra Yogeshwara Krishna, the last shloka from Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is Yogeshwara, the supreme mystic. He can do things that are superhuman. He can be in one place, and if he has a wish to go somewhere else, he can stay there, and he can also duplicate himself and go somewhere else, take care of another pastime. He's his own agent. He can step outside of his own existence and still remain there and participate in another pastime simultaneously. That's what we mean by Bhagawan. That's what we mean by God. I mean, if we can't fathom God's doing mystical things, then what is our idea of God? I mean, he has to do something pretty extraordinary and not ordinary. If you want to go to Mayapur, and you'll go, but your whole thing, you have to go, your passport has, your luggage has to go, your whole physical being, and you will have to be absent. You won't be home where you are in Africa. But it's not like that for Krishna. So there's no real comparison, for us. We cannot put ourselves on Krishna's platform. Just because we can't do it doesn't mean he can't do it. And there has to be some deeper meaning to the word God when we say God. We say the supreme being, the one who has no limits. So I take strength from that last verse of the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna is glorious for being able to do anything, but Arjuna is listed as Dhanur. What is the word? He is the supreme archer. What's the word here? I'm just going to grab it here. Arjuna is the supreme archer. Oh, he was good at that. He was good at the bow and arrow. There's no doubt about that. But Krishna is also good at the bow and arrow. And he's also good at the club. He's good at the chakra, and if he wants to, he can make his lotus flower if he throws it at you, he can kill you with this lotus flower. Or with this the supreme archer. The carry of the bow and just that's what I said. The carry of the bow and arrow. That's what Arjuna is celebrated for. But Krishna is celebrated for everything. And look at chapter 9 of the Gita, Mayatatam idam sarvam. He is situated somewhere, but he's not there.
Yeah.
That's like a magician, an illusionist.
Mhm.
Krishna has that supreme illusionist ability.
Yeah.
He does things that make people go, wow.
Well, thank you so much, Maharaj. I was not thinking how that is possible because I was so stupid. I was considering Krishna to be like myself.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
that's our problem.
that is not the case. Yeah, that's the problem, Maharaj.
That is the problem we all have.
Okay, so Maharaj, we go to His Grace Srimad Varahacharya Prabhu. Please, you may unmute. Prabhuji, you still muted.
We can see you. Yeah, your
Okay,
lips
good.
moving.
Jai Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All goes to Sri Prabhupada.
Haribo.
Thank you very much for being here with us.
Thank you.
Just maybe one question, one comment. Sadi Prabhu was saying that Krishna does not enter into the dirty act, and I thank you for the answer that we should be good hosts rather. Then it made me think, if Krishna is in the heart of the worm in the stool, so what is the question of not being in the dirty place?
Yes.
Krishna can be in the heart of the worm in the stool. He accompanies every living entity to any extent, wherever they fall down to. So thank you for your answer.
Yeah, you're breaking up a little bit for me.
We should be good hosts. So that one, I hold on to that. Now, my question, Maharaj. My question, Krishna said that we should, what is the use of repression? What is the use of repression? Everyone lives by the mode that is controlled. Then what is the use of repression? So I want to really know, what is the difference between controlling the senses and repressing the senses?
Well, the difference is, the difference between the two, repression is being very extreme in your approach. When we're talking about controlling the senses, that means working at your spiritual development incrementally. Krishna is just talking about the Shanai, which means that gradually go through the method of regulating yourself. Watch your speed, don't go too fast. Even if it is a spiritual endeavor, don't go too fast. The police, you go too fast. Well, I am driving. Yeah, but you're going too fast. It's hazardous. And they're there to, and the signs are there to just, let you know that there's a speed at which you can go where you can accomplish what you want, which is to go from one place to another. So if you go extremism is not sattva gun. Sattva gun, good motive goodness means to be thoughtful, to be planning, to be pacing and planning. Whereas repression means, well, I'm just going to chant Hare Krishna, and I'm not going to eat anything. I'll fast for so many days. Like, come up with your own program of how you can spiritually develop. But that's not favorable. You have to regulate and be temperate in the habits of eating and sleeping and recreation, which is what Krishna says. It's a key word, to be temperate, to be balanced. It's a key word, magical word for us in Krishna consciousness. Don't go too fast. Don't go too slow. Just go at the pace which is going to make a difference. So extremism, again, what it means, putting too much chilies in the sabji, too many chilies. Extremism means too much sugar, too much of anything, mode of passion. So, when you try to take your steps devotionally, you have to have some kind of guide. There has to be some kind of guru or mentor in your life. It just can't be what you think is going to work for you. You have to have some opinions. You have to have some regulations. So, yeah, controlling your senses, control your speed. But that's different from not moving at all or moving too fast. So we should just encourage, we should invite in our life sattva-gun. Sattva-gun, mode of goodness, means thoughtfulness. Mode of passion means restlessness. Not very little thought applied to, in the application. And mode of ignorance means, well, you just don't do much of anything. Just let everything be. You don't take care of your hygiene, or you're sleeping too much or sleeping too little, and they're self-destructive. You're taking all kinds of toxins and things like that. That's what it means to be extreme. So repression is not so much a part of the spiritual upbringing. Like, do not think that the cold turkey approach is going to work for practically anybody. You know what I mean by cold turkey? Do you know the expression?
No.
I don't think I know, Maharaj.
No.
Well, when someone's trying to wean themselves off of drugs or something like that, some addiction, bad habits, it's sometimes better to slowly ease yourself out of it.
Yeah.
As opposed to the cold turkey approach. Cold turkey means, if I'm going to have a turkey, it better be hot.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing worse than cold eggplant sabji. Would you agree?
Yeah, Maharaj, you're very right. I say oftentimes when someone has been on one particular medication for a very long time, the doctors do not suddenly ask the person to terminate the use of the medicine. They slowly and gradually wean the individual off of it, slowly. Because if they cut it off completely, that might cause lots of problems.
Well, it does. And you'll just shock your system.
Yes.
Why do I want to shock your system? Like, why don't you be cool and smooth about it? Easy going.
Yeah.
A smooth transition. Transformations happen more through gradual development as opposed to a total cutoff. I mean, some people might have to just totally break away from habits, and that's it. I've seen people, they've gone rock bottom, and there's no other way to go. So they come out shining with a new life. It's almost like a new drug for them. I'll just share with you something that happened in one of our communities that I visited. There was so many politics going on, so much gossip, so much hate in the atmosphere. And one of the devotees, my godbrother, he said, "Hey," it just kind of like broke out in the crowd. Said, "We're at a great moment here. This is a great, perfect time in our lives. We've got so low, we've steeped so low. You can't go any lower. We can only go up." So he just kind of took the negative, made it a positive. So some people have to take that approach. I've seen it. somebody on a pack of cigarettes every day, and then they just decided this is it. I'm just going to use what people use for their cigarette like this, the Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. And they fought this addiction with the holy name. But most of us have to gradually ease ourselves off, fade out or fade in. When you're doing some kind of stuff on the stage, you can fade on, fade off, or total blackout.
Well, thank you so much,
The
Maharaj.
blackout technique can work, but thank you.
Actually, I looked up the definition of repression, and it has the word force in it, which Maharaja, and that is not Sattvagun, it's Raja. It's passionate. Mitravinda David, do you have something to ask or share? Oh, I think we lost her. Shrimavara Prabhu, are you okay with the answer?
Yes, thank you, Maharaj. The only aspect of that verse which makes me think a lot is the fact that Krishna says everyone follows the mode that is controlled. That everyone is forced to act. Everyone is forced to act by the mode that is controlled by. So what will repression accomplish? So that is very deep. Everyone is forced to act by the modes of nature that is controlled. Then
yes.
What will repression accomplish?
Well, so what we're saying is that work with your nature, your psychophysical nature. Everyone's got a Kshatriya nature, Brahminical nature, Shudra nature, or Vaishya nature. They're all good. They complement each other, right? And but go with your nature, and don't force yourself to do something that's not natural for you. Don't put too much force at the point where it's going to hurt. Like if I ask a massage therapist, can you work on my legs a little bit? I'm going to say, just help me out. Please, I'm not going to say, please repress me. Don't force it on me. Don't push too hard. Don't kill me. In other words,
Yeah.
So let us determine what is my nature psychophysically. Am I more of a Brahmin? Am I more of a Vaishya? Shudra? Some of us have a little bit of all, but there's usually one dominant, a trait that I should that should carry me. So don't force too hard. What I don't know if you're a grihasta, I assume, and maybe you have kids. Should you repress them?
No.
I mean, after all, they're extension of yourself, right?
Yeah.
Does it make more sense to repress them, or is it better to say, well, my son Sam, he's good with his hands. I want to encourage him to develop that more and contribute to the society in that way. Don't try to tell him to be a lawyer. That's repression. Dad, do you really want me to study all those books? Do we have the money to take me through the, law school? And, try to understand the nature that you're born with and run with it.
I think, Maharaj, in discussing this particular topic, I think that is the more reason why training is very essential in our Krishna consciousness. So it's continuous and it's steady and it's gradual. And
Right.
then with time, even what I did not like doing yesterday, I may begin to like doing them today because of the gradual, constant training.
Right.
But that does not involve any sort of force. It's
Right.
a gradual discipline, which is like that. I think would be the controlling the senses as opposed to suppressing, which is like sometimes some yogis may do that, and eventually we hear they fall at some
They
point.
snap. Yeah, they snap.
Yeah.
I like that word that you brought up, training. Any trains I've ever seen, doesn't matter if it's Africa or India or Canada, whatever, they just kind of like slowly start, and one pushes the next, it's a light push, it's easy going. A train never starts and it just takes off, 300 miles per hour. No, it's not like that. Training is gradual, slow, easy.
Yeah.
If something, I have a trainer. I have a coach. I have a physiotherapist. They always work easy on their clients, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maharaj, I have one last question, which does not have a direct connection to today's topic. But I personally, if it's towards me, I don't care much. I'm not advanced, but I don't care much. But I'm asking what should disciple or devotees do when they hear that their guru or another devotee is being insulted, blasphemed, and they know clearly that what is being said about this particular devotee is not true. But they are spewing these false statements, activities about this particular devotee, and so many stupid, ignorant people are buying into that. I don't know. It's quite disturbing to me sometimes. But if you may help us with what devotees need to do in such instances, when they know clearly that what is being said about this particular devotee is nowhere close to who this person is, what should devotees do?
Prabhu, to be honest with you, you broke up a little bit. But I think I captured what you're saying. Someone is making accusations and cursing,
False
claiming.
accusations.
Well, against a person, and there's not enough evidence to prove that these allegations are true, or the person's not in a position to be making these statements. And if there is some correction needed, is that person the one to do the correction? All those things? Is that what we're talking about?
Not quite. What I was trying to get from you is a devotee or a disciple of a guru or of a devotee, especially within our movement. And some people, 2, 3, 4, 5 people, or few groups here and there, and making false accusations and allegations about this particular devotee. And the devotee who read it, heard it, or saw it knows clearly, beyond the shadow of doubt, that what these people are saying is untrue. but he is unable to speak to this particular person or this group to let them know that what they're saying is untrue. And even you know that even if you try, these people are not going to listen to you. They just have the agenda that let's go and destroy, 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 destroy. What should the devotees or the disciple of such blasphemed guru or devotee do?
Well, I think we have to warn devotees that this negativity exists in the world, and that when we start to blaspheme, it's the most dangerous position. No, we're warned in the 10 offenses against the holy name. You can't start criticizing people, especially those who are making an endeavor. I mean, do we have to remind them? I guess we do. My experience is that those people who get on that negative edge, they're very pejorative, negative about everything, they're just, you don't want them in your company. If you try to appeal to them and they don't want to listen, I think you have good grounds to just cut them off. Like if somebody's really negative, and if they're in your inner circle, you might just try to get them out of the circle. And if they have a position of leadership, it gets serious. And, this is where good governance comes in. The leaders, administrators have to take some action. This is what their role is, right? Have to take a little bit of a Kshatriya stance. I'm not saying physically, but this is their job, right? And not to be just let it linger and to go on. You might have to just do a clean cut and say you're on your own now. You're not a member. I mean, that would be the extreme situation, You have to dishonor them. Let's say, take all the medals off their uniform. You can build up your own uniform. Do something somewhere else, but you're not one of us anymore. I mean, after attempts to try to get those people to be, it's what I find, a lot of us who come to the movement, we are radically minded, we don't like a lot of things that go on. That started off in the early days, the hippie movement. The hippies were radical, and they had many good reasons to be. Now you become a devotee. Well, you have to start talking a little positive now, thinking positive. Krishna saved you. And what we found sometimes, people linger in their being pejorative and negative and dark, And so it's to be given up. That's what you really shed when you come to Krishna consciousness. Like cynicism, cynicism is a sin to me. It's a sin to be negative. Why aren't you counting blessings? That's what Prabhupada did. Like, there's only two ways to be in this life: to be beat up or upbeat. So a lot of people just choose to be beat up. They don't have anything positive to say. Don't you have any blessings in your life? Aren't you grateful? Where's your gratitude? Where's the attitude of gratitude? What's the matter with you? And if they're not willing to listen to each other, then and you can't be a friend. Friendship means so much in Krishna consciousness, and I don't know how you can help them. They'll make their new friends. What usually happens in all societies around the world, you have a community, you lay down some laws, and if people don't follow, they'll be put in prison for a while. And those who just do criminal acts, they're usually rejected, by most of society. And they may be they may be told to just get out of town, like get out of Dodge, it's like a Western saying, get out of Dodge with a gun, like get out. Well, that outlaw who doesn't follow the laws of the collective, like the agreement by everyone to bring peace and protection to our community, they'll find another outlaw from another community. He's rejected, he'll find another reject. And who's rejecting them? Ultimately, Krishna, when you're so negative. And they'll just bond together. And before you know, you have a whole culture, a whole gang. They'll come with their guns on horseback and they'll start to loot and they'll, rape women and they'll start burning the town down, kill the sheriff and all that kind of stuff. And it's just a bunch of outlaws. And that's why people need protection, because these characters are going to come around. And I think it has to be made clear by the powers that be that this person is no longer with us, unfortunately, and is speaking poison, is going beyond protocol and not being, definitely going beyond, like not polite.
Well, thank you so much, Maharaj, for the advice. And I'm really happy with the answer you gave to my question, because this just about 10 days ago, somebody had made some serious, excuse me my language, crazy statement about Srila Prabhupada. And this was on Facebook. And one Mataji was trying to debate this sick person. And so when I went to that link and I saw it, I wrote to the lady who was trying to debate this person, this guy, that, hey, this guy is beyond remediation. Nobody can help him. Leave him alone. If you see, if you come across him, just take to the other direction, and let's just pray for him. So the lady wrote back thanking me, and surprisingly, the guy himself also wrote back saying thank you to me. And I don't know whether he was being sarcastic or he really meant thanking me, but thank you so much for the approach you gave to us, and I'm happy that I did take that approach. I refrain from trying to argue or debate with this person, because to me, he was beyond somebody who can be helped, except maybe Guru Krishna.
Yeah, in some cases, the atmosphere. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I'm done. I said maybe Guru Krishna themselves may come in to help him at some point, but it's beyond me trying to help.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right. There's a lot of toxicity going on. And sometimes you try to be a gentleman. They don't want to reciprocate. So at some point you have to do this,
Yeah.
cut the umbilical cord.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mother can't hang on to the umbilical cord with the baby. The baby has to be on its own, so to speak,
Mhm.
So let them try.
Yeah.
And I like the idea of prayer. Yeah, because prayer reaches out to Krishna and says, Krishna, can you do something about that person's heart? Can you soften them up a little bit?
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Did you have something to say to Maharaj?
Hare Krishna again.
Hare
I'm
Krishna.
back. I just wanted to share that something that really helps me, that to actually, besides chanting the holy name, but I had a realization, and I think Srila Prabhupada has helped me with this, because he shares with us that this world is a hospital, and we don't realize that we have a disease. We're diseased, we're conditioned, and everyone has a different disease, so So why are we trying to, get this respect, you can't make anyone give you respect. You just have to be who you are. You have to just, be yourself. And I think if we would all try to realize that we all have a disease, that we are not perfect, to whom amongst us are without sin. You know what I mean? And if we just come to that realization, then I think that would help us become a better conscious entity living in this material world. I think that would be so helpful if we would be thankful and appreciative and grateful, and I think that requires a lot of living to become grateful, because we don't understand that in the beginning of our lives. We just want everything to be given to us, and we expect this. But we have to understand that we have to be grateful, and that's a humble state of being. You have to become humble. I get emotional when I talk about this subject because this is so a part of us. We just walk right over it, Yes. We don't see it. We don't feel it. That's all I wanted to add. Hare Krishna.
Well,
Hare Krishna.
Nice addition. I'll have to go then. Thank you.
Maharaj, thank you so much for being here and inspiring us, giving us your love and sharing with us your wisdom. And before you leave, we're going to humbly request all the devotees to kindly unmute, and we all chant the loudest Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our appreciation to our revered speaker, His Holiness, excuse me, His Holiness Bhakti Marga Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Ramcha Kalpa Tarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhya Evacha, Patitanam Pavanabhya, Vaishnavabhyo. All praise His Holiness Bhakti Marga Swami Maharaj Ki. All the fellow Vaishnava devotees. Hare Krishna.
Jai, Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.